Hey everybody, welcome back. So I guess as you can see from my mess here, I have been doing a fair amount of printing and breaking stuff. And what I've been trying to do is to get the ideal part to drop the hammer on that I think I can use across all the different filaments and give us results that actually make some sense to us. I don't know if that's possible, but I'm trying it. Now, one of the first things I noticed, and I'm just going to go over with you shortly what I've done. If you want to see the part that I printed in the Cura Settings, jump to the end of the video because that's where I'm going to put the little Cura segment. If you want to see the previous video in this series, I'll put a link in the cards above. So one of the first things I noticed when I was making this, when I was dropping, and I'm just going to use this as a representative part for the hammer I had, when I was dropping the hammer on the part, I was getting a lot of it hitting like that. When it hit like that, nothing would happen. When it would hit like that, that's when I'd get the breakage. And it was not consistent, and I thought it would make the results less meaningful. So the first thing I did was I ground around there and rounded it. And as soon as I did that, I couldn't break the part anymore. Those hammer heads were just way too strong, especially when the infill was 50% or above. When it was 100%, I think I could put it on a set of railroad tracks, and I'd have to have a train drive over it to break it. It is extremely solid. That was between my thumb and finger, that's about 10 millimeters thick, and when it's 100%, it's solid plastic. It was also taking 2.5 hours to print, which sucks. So after that, the next thing I did is I wanted to get rid of it screwing down on to a threaded part like this onto my wooden base, because the underside of this was supporting and all I was doing was smashing through the infill. And if there wasn't any infill, there was no smashing through. So as you can see, I created a ring there, and now my part just sets inside the ring. And yes, that is going to it's going to bounce it out now and again, and I'm going to have to go hunting for it, but we'll see how annoying that becomes. So I wound up putting a pretty good rounded profile on the end of my hammer in order to sort of concentrate the impact, also to make sure that I'm not hitting an edge if it gets slightly sideways. I can't really change it getting slightly sideways. It fits closely inside that tube, but not perfectly. And so what I've done is the first thing I did was I got rid of the threads on the inside since I don't need them anymore. I thinned this way down, and I got rid of the fillet here because it wasn't printing well without support, and I wanted something that would print quickly. So I tried a bunch of different thicknesses after getting rid of the threads. Here's an example of the piece I finally came up with. I've got a chamfer on the outside and a matching chamfer on the inside. That strengthens the rim, so I'm just not knocking the rim down into it. I'm actually breaking the center out. And I think if I remember right, the thickness is 4 millimeters. So with that being said, I have 6 different pieces of 6 different pieces of 6 different brands of PLA today. Let's give it a go and see what happens. And I got them in reverse order, don't I? I do. Let me show you what they are. The first one is this blue one. This is this no-name brand cheap PLA that I have printed so much of. I used to buy this off of eBay in bulk, 10 spools at a time, for about $9 or $10 a spool. It's more expensive than that now, so I haven't bought any for a while. But it does seem to be brittle, but I have printed a lot with this stuff. The next thing is the Polymaker Polyterra Red PLA. And that's this, and I did note from my review of the Polyterra PLA that it does seem to be softer, more bendable, and tougher than a standard PLA. So we're going to try that. Then I have the Jarees Natural PLA, and that's this piece here. And I thought the Jarees printed really nice, seemed to be a good filament. After that, I have this 3D Solutech, which I bought in this brown because my wife wanted stuff to print around the house, her little potting benches and things, and she picked this brown out, so I have it left over. It seems to print really good, although I've heard mixed reports of the Polymaker. Some like it, some think it's terrible. Next up, we have this Duramic I tested a while back, and it is the matte white filament. Again, just a standard PLA. And last but not least, I have the Airy one. This is the Airy one standard green PLA, and by standard I mean it's not a PLA plus. None of these are high temp PLA plus products. These are all just standard PLAs. With that being said, I am going to clean some of the junk up off my bench so I don't have stuff rolling all off the floor, and we're going to break some stuff. Be right back. Okay, so I think I'm all set up. So what I have here is, oh, and I've got a little impromptu chart I made to count the number of drops before we get a break. And you know, we might do a set of drops before we get a crack, and set of drops before we get a complete breakthrough. And what I have here is a little clicker to help me count, because I can't count past 3 and remember what I'm doing. And I bought this a long time ago. I was helping my wife count something, can't remember what it was. Anyway, I'm going to use that to count the drops, because that means I don't have to go back and watch the video to count the drops. So, in no particular order, oh, and just to let you know, I'm going to be doing the same thing I did last time. I have a hook up here, and that's just going to help me guide the cord through without getting the knot caught as it drops into the tube. Zoom in like that, and let's start with the cheapo blue. I need to move that down a little bit. There we go. All right, let's start with the cheap blue. There we go, cheap blue PLA. Survived that. I may speed this up. Well, that was number 4. Where's the camera lens? We're zoomed in so far. That was number 4, and we broke it completely through. So, drop number 4, and I'm going to put 4 for both the crack and for the breakthrough. All right, let's get the pieces out of there. And here comes the 3D Solutech next. 3D Solutech, let me zero my my counter out. Or we got a crack. We kept my counter up to 4 since that does appear to be about my limit. We did get a crack in that. Can you see it? I don't see it. Doesn't appear to have cracked all the way through, but there is a decided crack in the top of that. Oh, 5 to total destruction. I don't think I need to zoom in on that for you. That is total destruction. And what's next? Next is the Jarees Natural. That is that one. See nothing in that yet. Oh yeah, there's a crack across it. You can see it. There's like it's starred. Oh, shall we call that complete destruction? It has a crack. I can see all the way through that crack. Let's give it one more. Let's go to total destruction. There we go, total destruction. I counted that at 17, but I will go back through it and recount. All right, next up, let's do the Duramic white. Okay, that's 25. Let me zoom the camera back in so that we can try and get a really good look at this. There's no reflectivity. This is a dead matte colored filament, so it's hard to tell. I think it survived it. I think I'm going to have to call this one a survivor, because I'm really not seeing anything. I don't really see anything. I think it survived. All right, let's move on. Next is coming up the Polymaker, Polyterra PLA. That's 10 with the Polymaker, and I'm not seeing, I don't think I'm seeing any problems with it at all. Well, I take that back. I take that back. I think I am seeing slight crackage on the inside at 10. I don't know if you can see it there, but yeah, absolutely, there's crackage there. So, Polymaker, crack at 10. All right, there is 25 with the Polymaker Polyterra PLA. Let's take a look at it. The outside still looks fine to me. I mean, there does appear to be a slight dish in it, and of course marks where the hammer hit, but there is absolute cracking on the inside of it. So not a total survivor, but nonetheless, it's still intact. It's still one piece. I did not get a total failure out of it. Okay, so now that I've watched the video and straightened out the number of hits and things like that, let's take a look and see what we got. Now, I removed the results of the Airy one because it is a PLA plus, and I don't know why, but I thought the green PLA that Airy one sent me was just a standard PLA, and that was a brain fart because it's not. So I don't want that in these results. I want that in the results of the PLA plus comparison. So what do we have? The cheap Blue PLA took 4 hits, and it's 4 hits to total destruction. There was no cracking ahead of time. On hit number 4, it blew a hole right through the center of it. The Airy one green we didn't do. The next one was the Jarees natural PLA, and it took 3 hits to a crack and 20 hits to blow the top completely out of the thing. Not really bad performance, and I have a feeling that I'm seeing cracks in the natural partially transparent PLA that was probably there in the others, but I could only see in this one because it was partially transparent. But nonetheless, it took 20 hits to a complete blow through, which I thought was pretty good. The Polymaker, which I felt is tougher than a standard formulation PLA, even though they do call the Polyterra a PLA, it took 10 hits till I started seeing cracks in the back of it. And see if you can see them there. I think you can. 10 hits till I started seeing cracks, and 25 hits total. I decided, and you probably didn't hear it in the video, it was probably in one of the parts that I sped up and took the audio out of, but I decided I wasn't going to go past 25 or thereabout, since, as I've mentioned, my counting abilities are not that wonderful. One thing that did happen with the Polyterra is I had a separation there. Now, none of the others really did that, although the brown did break across that point, but nonetheless, the top part that I was impacting, it survived 25 hits with just some cracks on the back. The 3D Solutech, and I do want to mention that I had one person tell me that he's had very, very bad luck, he or she or whatever, has had very bad luck with the Polyterra filament, warpage, and not adhering. I have not had any of those problems with this filament. Not saying they didn't, but just that I didn't either, or I didn't. So, the 3D Solutech took 4 hits to a crack and 5 hits to blowing it completely open. So it's pretty much on par with that blue filament, and it's pretty inexpensive. So there's that. I've had people tell me they've had bad luck with the 3D Solutech filament. I've had several rolls of it and several different types of it, and I've always had good luck with it, so there's that. Now there's the Duramic. Duramic claims this is a standard PLA. They don't claim PLA plus, so there's the other chunk of the natural. They don't claim that it's a PLA plus, or they don't claim, I mean, they make some claims about it, but I gotta tell you, it took 27 hits from my hammer and has shown, other than marks on it, it has not shown any breakage. I'm looking down here in the center of it, and I'm thinking that I might see what is the beginning, the formation of cracks. I don't know if you can see them. I couldn't see them when I was out in the garage, but if you look, ouch, if you look right in there, if I can get the light to shine on it just right, you might be able to see a little tiny bit of a crack. There is one. I can run my fingernail across it and feel it, but 27 hits is pretty impressive. And so I think there is an actual clear winner here. It is absolutely this Duramic white. I will probably put it at the top of my heap of this competition, and with the Polyterra PLA a second, and then probably the Jarees transparent third, and then these two a tie for last place. So I think this turned out really well. I'm pretty happy with the results of this, and I think I'm going to move on to a different type of filament next. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thanks for hanging on to the end of this. If you did, I am going to follow this with the Cura settings. So please like and subscribe, hit notifications and all that stuff. I will catch you the next time, and thanks again for watching. Bye for now. Okay, so just a quick look at the part and the Cura settings, because I know you guys are going to ask. The size of the part is 40 by 40 by 20 millimeters being the Z height. I'm using a 0.32 layer height, a 0.5 line width. I've explained why I use a 0.5 line width many times in the past. So let's just say there was a problem I was having, and going from 0.4 to 0.5 helped, and I have never seen a real reason to go back. Wall thickness is 1 and a wall line count of 2. Horizontal expansion and horizontal hole expansion are not going to play a role in this, so it doesn't matter how they're set. Top thickness is 0.96, and bottom layers is 9999999 because there is no infill. I wanted it to be completely solid. Top bottom pattern is lines. Infill density is 100%. Pattern is lines. Print temperature is 210, build plate temperature is 50, flow is 100, all the flow settings are at 100. Print speed is 60 millimeters per second with an initial layer speed of 30 millimeters per second. Acceleration is 300 millimeters per second squared, and print jerk is 5. Enable retraction is turned on. Retraction distance is 5. Retraction speed and reprime speed are 45. Combing mode is not in skin. None of that should play any kind of a role in this. Oh, and this is Cura 4.11, by the way, which I do really like. I think it's moving me back to Cura full time. And what else? Cooling is turned on. Fan at 80% speed and fan height speed at 0.96. Regular fan speed at layer 3. No support. Build plate adhesion is a skirt, just one loop. And surface mode is normal. Make overhang printable is not turned on. So those are the settings in Cura. So I hope that answers the questions for anybody who would have asked. Please let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye for now.